Have you ever been so frustrated with starting over that you say to yourself, this time I'm finally going to stick with it? Well, you're not alone, because statistically speaking, out of every 10 people that attempt to change their lifestyle in January, when the motivation is often the highest, only 2 are still at it by the time March comes around. In this video, I want to talk about the 3 big mistakes that you can avoid so that you feel more confident by month 1, achieve measurable results by month 3, and not only sustain those results, but also improve on them by month 12 without feeling like you have to push harder and harder and harder to achieve your goals. Because by doing so, that's actually the blueprint to burnout. I'm Travis, and I've helped over 1,000 people for the past 10 years make positive lifestyle changes, working both as a physical therapist and a personal trainer. And I've always found that although the physical aspect of making these positive changes is difficult, the best thing that you can do is focus your attention on not making these mistakes. Starting with mistake number 1, relying on your feelings. And really what I mean by this is I want you to think about it as being rewarded by your feelings rather than feeling motivated by them. Because if you're always putting a lot more emphasis and attention on how you feel before doing that behavior or that specific action, whether it's trying to eat healthier and lose weight, or exercise more, or gain muscle and change the way you look to feel more confident, or even starting a new hobby, learning a new language, whatever the case may be, whatever you're trying to do to improve the quality of your life, you're not always going to be motivated. You may at first, which is why I was saying at the beginning of the year, when everybody feels this fresh start effect and they want to now harness that motivation to make these positive changes, it doesn't last, even though you have all the intentions in the world. And so when you focus on these feelings before whatever it is that your goals are, they're not meant to last and they're unreliable. Because even if it's a positive emotion, like having excitement and motivation and drive, or it's a negative emotion that's insecurity, that can go a couple different ways. It could either keep you from doing that thing, or if the negative motivation is strong enough, it can end up pushing you towards that thing that you want to do. So the emotions, if they're negative, could go either way. And that's another reason why I say the feelings beforehand are unreliable and they're not meant to last. However, if you expand your perspective and you put your focus on what you're going to feel like after you do that behavior, and you're not going to know until you do it, which is another positive benefit of shifting your focus away from the before and towards the after, because you can't know until you do that thing, right? Which is more of a pulling force towards your goals rather than you pushing yourself towards your goals. And the other thing is, once you have the presence of those positive emotions after you do that specific behavior or action, right? It's gonna feel good. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the gym or the clinic and somebody has came in and said, man, I really didn't feel like coming in today because I was just exhausted or I didn't feel like it. And majority of the time afterward, they'll say physically that they feel a lot better, like they feel a little energized. But in some of those cases where they still feel just as bad physically, they always say that they're glad they came anyway. And that same thing will be true for you. Mistake number 2 is focusing on results. And I know this may sound counterintuitive because the whole purpose of you starting this new routine and making these positive changes is to get a different result. But really, I'm thinking about this in the short term. So instead, I want you to think about prioritizing quick wins over quick results. Because I think that's a lot of times what people run into, the problem that they run into is they focus on getting all these results in as short a period of time as they can, and therefore they exert all this energy and push super hard in the beginning, which is just not sustainable, especially if you have never done that thing before, and you're basically starting from day one. So instead, when you prioritize the quick wins, which are the process-oriented factors that go into eventually getting those results long term, you set up a much better foundation for then those results to just naturally flow towards you rather than you feeling like you have to run towards them. And so the best way I like thinking about this is all the results that you want are way downstream. So instead of you feeling so excited and so motivated at this time that you just jump in the water and start swimming, eventually you're going to get tired and then you're going to have to go to shore and take a break. But if you just wait, right, and take away that initial sense of I want to go towards my goals and achieve all these results in the beginning, and you just spend time assembling your raft, which is now your mindset of pre-planning for all these problems that you'll eventually run into in the future, right? Then you can just relax and float downstream and let the current take you to all the results that you want in time. Because the fact of the matter is, the best results are going to come way, way down the line. Mistake number 3 is not having any accountability. And I find this even more important than having the knowledge to do what you're supposed to do or making the most optimized routine, because even a halfway optimized routine is going to far surpass the routine that's optimized that's less consistent. So even if you don't quite know what to do, but you have a friend or a coach or a mentor in your corner that's helping you be pulled along your path, whether it's they are adding little bits of guidance or even the biggest factor, which is having somebody that is relying on you. So if you expect somebody to ask you, did you do these things, or you have appointments set up with them, there's going to be a part of you that really feels like you don't want to let this person down, or you just know that somebody is watching in a way, right? That they're making sure that you're doing the things that you're supposed to do. And really, this became very evident to me when I started going to school for my graduate work and got my doctorate in physical therapy. And all the way up until that point, it never really occurred to me that the biggest advantage of going to school is that you have somebody that is assigning you tasks and making sure that you're performing those tasks and doing them well. If you didn't actually do what was asked of you, you're not going to perform well on the test, versus the opposite. If you are performing well, then you must have done those tasks. But without that realization of knowing that really what we're doing here is just being the most accountable to each other and to ourselves by being in a classroom. Because really, how likely are we to perform all the tasks that we do in school by ourselves? Probably not very, right? You're much less likely to read as intently as you do and study as hard as you do, because we don't want a bad grade at the end. And so the same is true when you have a mentor or you have a teacher or you have a coach. You know, there always is this little subconscious desire for us to make them proud, even though the ultimate goal is for us to improve ourselves. And even if there is that little desire to make them proud, and by result, we end up getting better ourselves, we actually win in all areas, because both of those things make us feel good and we get the results that we want. And so if you feel like you're struggling with your own sense of direction, or you feel like you've been stuck in this cycle of starting and then quitting and having to start over, if you'd like to talk about your specific situation, you can click the link in the description and talk to me directly. But think about ways where you could either have a friend with you or a parent or a partner, and just have them keep you accountable by you stating what your goals are and speaking that out into the universe and letting it be known that this is what you want and this is what you're moving towards. And that could have a very powerful effect on your mindset and even the chances of achieving everything that you want down the line. Once you get these habits in place where you can focus your mind on the most important things that you could do right now, eventually everything will come towards you. But you have to have the patience to stick it out long enough for all of those things to come your way. And so I hope these ideas have been helpful. And until the next one, I'll see you then.